I'll begin by stating that people on TikTok are really smart. They are so goddamn smart, and TikTok does not promote propaganda. By the way, today is opposite day. At least it was up until this point in the video. So the Warren Commission is something that existed around the time, following the assassination of JFK. And what was cooked up prior to all of this, if I'm not mistaken, is jargon, social engineering phrases and buzzwords and things to circulate. Back then, we didn't have TikTok. We had the newspaper and we had word of mouth. Word of mouth, clout, things like that, so to speak, were circulated. But by and large, propaganda was circulated, just not as readily as it is today because now we have TikTok and other platforms of this ilk, which are social engineering platforms for the slow thinkers out there. Conspiracy theory, conspiracy theorist. These are things that sensible people do not rattle off because that's the jargon that was cooked up to defame anybody who spoke out against the Warren Commission, the original, or I should say, the official findings. The quote unquote official findings behind why JFK and how JFK was assassinated. Now, our masters are laughing at us. They control the media. They control the programming. They control the internet. They control, music, sports, politics. List goes on and on and on. Everything you could possibly think of, and damn near everything you repeat and believe in, is a phony fucking narrative compounded on another phony fucking narrative. Here's a superficial internet, baby. And assume I'm wrong.
This movie with Mel Gibson is like trolling us. Have a listen to the opening dialogue. This is the beginning of the movie. I can't believe, people at the time just thought this was crazy or funny.
You do realize this movie is titled Conspiracy Theory. Now, there's something known as lesser magic where our masters tell us what's gonna happen, what did happen. They teach you things in the programming, but it's not on the superficial surface. It's not something that whoever you are, it's not something you would fucking recognize. I guarantee it. Because you have to have eyes to see, which means you have to use the brain between your ears to think. And that's meant to be insulting because what I just said is absolutely true. And if you and I had a conversation, if, you were put to the test, you would fail miserably. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Case in point, you can go to the accounts that I moderate. I left test questions online. If you can answer those test questions and prove me wrong, do so. You can't Google the answers. Put in your time, find those test questions and answer one of them if you think that what I just said is not true.
And entertaining to watch. Little do they know, they're being told something. Check this out.
Oh, and by the way, it's a consent-based system, which is another reason why our masters are laughing at us. This is old hat, mind you. A more recent film is Under the Silver Lake, which mocks, openly mocks, the same jazz. It's the same jazz. This is more, how should I put it? This is a very superficial package. It's neat. It's friendly. It's not as unnerving as the ambiance, for lack of better words, that is presented in Under the Silver Lake. And if I recall correctly, the same director that knocked out It Follows, I'm pretty sure knocked out Under the Silver Lake for what it's worth. Some of you have seen this movie, right? I don't have to sit through it. Some of you have probably seen it. More importantly, you could watch it and appreciate what I just said. Here's another point. This is a superficial, narcissistic internet baby who bought into what? Narcissistic reaction videos. What he's presenting in here is counterproductive based on what exists, what is, available to you. What did I say about the Warren Commission? What did I say about conspiracy theory or conspiracy theorist? No one sensible would rattle that shit off. No one sensible would promote that shit. And that's exactly what this superficial, narcissistic internet baby is doing. And he bought into, and I mean, this is just a telltale sign that he's not very bright. He bought into the narcissistic reaction videos. You can present something just like I'm presenting something. You don't have to see the lips move. You don't need flashy imagery. You don't need any of that garbage. Now, parallel what I'm complaining about with TikTok. On TikTok, if you put a bunch of obnoxious noises in a video, if you put a bunch of social engineering stickers people call emojis, which are written into free social media platforms, which is a red flag. But if you challenge people, they will argue in favor of the fucking propaganda. But if you put a bunch of emojis and obnoxious noises in a video, and who knows what else, pointless captions, a bunch of words that mean absolutely nothing and or are truncated because there's a war on words, the algorithm will promote your video or your image. Because our masters are conditioning people. That's why that is what it is. But do you hear people complain about this? No. Because what did I say earlier? If you're not using the brain between your ears, you're not going to have eyes to see.
Fluoride. Yeah, fluoride. On the pretext that it strengthens your teeth. That's ridiculous. You know what this...
That's not eye-opening. Fluoride is an active ingredient in rat poison. It's one of the most superficial things you could slap into a movie titled What You See in Red.
Does to you? It actually weakens your will, takes away the capacity for free and creative thought, and makes you a slave to the state.
But more importantly, if you and I were surrounded by adults, there wouldn't be fluoride in the fucking water supply. It would not have been contaminated. And people wouldn't complacently go along to get along. You dig? But that's who you and I are surrounded by. And now it's worse than ever. How many of you have knocked out, and this is my point, how many of you have knocked out a narcissistic reaction video? How many of you have used an emoji? The fact that you've done these things is telling of the fact that you do not have a clue what's going on and you are marching in lockstep with all the other kids. Now, if you parallel that with what our moms and our dads were doing and their moms and their dads were doing, they were also marching in lockstep, just in a different way, which is also why there's fluoride in the fucking water supply. You do realize the movie titled Conspiracy Theory is talking about Oswald, having to do with the Warren Commission. Our masters are laughing at us. If I went through the comments section, not one of these duds is going to bring up what I told you today. Because people do not have a clue what's going on. Oh, here's somebody waxing poetic about Satan. And yet, their bones are covered in muscle, and their muscle is covered in skin. And I guarantee what I just said probably went over most of your heads. Because people do not know what they're talking about. That's a documentary, not a movie. You see all those emojis? The bookends, the ones flanking, the centermost pointless emojis, that's the wartime flag of the District of Columbia. That kid doesn't have a clue. Not a clue. Just more of the same. And this should terrify you, but that's also why this video has been seen by 18,000 people. The algorithm promotes propaganda.
I mean, George Bush knew what he was saying when he said New World Order. Remember those big old words, New World Order? Well, he was a 33rd degree Mason, and as ex-director of the CIA.
Guess who's paving the way for a one world religion? I mean, a new world order. You. And your friends. And your family. And the strangers you bump into. And all the people you've never met and never will. Most people. Dramatic pause for emphasis.
Look, I know it's an eerie thought that like our reality is completely manipulated and controlled and things are hiding in plain sight. But that's exactly what you're witnessing here. They're telling you what's going on, but they're pitching it to you with the idea of like this kind of kooky conspiracy guy who won't shut up, won't stop talking about all these crazy government things that are going on. But it's even more deeper than that. I know that when I told my dad about the...
It's so deep that the superficial narcissistic internet baby didn't think about any of it. He clicked record, he crapped out a video, and that's why I was shown it. And that's why 18,000 people have been shown it, because he doesn't have something to say. Not something you could use as a tool. Not something that would benefit you and I. There's a stark difference between what I get up to and what most people get up to. And I'm censored on the DARPA internet. It's something you should kick around. But if you contact me and you use emojis, I probably won't be so nice. But technically, that's probably the best thing anybody could do for you these days, is tell you to pull your head out of your ass. Because most people are just marching in lockstep, telling you polarizing positive vibes only, we got this. And things are getting worse and worse and worse because of it.
9/11 symbology in Back to the Future, and I showed him the full video that I made on it. Like, hey, look at the 9/11. And
do you hear that? He made a video about the Twin Pines Mall and the 9/11 connections, because that stuff was seeded in numerous projects. That's also something that numerous people have crapped out videos about. It's something that's floating on the superficial surface. It's something that's been widely circulated on YouTube and TikTok. It's not new. It's not insightful. It is meant to be insulting. It is lesser magic. Because our masters plan things and roll them out on a goddamn schedule is what I was going to say, but I almost said agenda. Because it is. What he's talking about and what I'm alluding to, it has to do with an act of greater magic, which is a blood sacrifice. Usually I say, think of 9/11. Oh, pardon me. Think of Pearl Harbor, 9/11, and the enduring agenda from 2020 to present day, which I can't name by name because it's still censored online. Because nothing you can possibly think of is for the people, by the people, because nothing is for the people, by the people. But you're told that you're free, and a lot of people will say that they are free. A lot of people will claim to be patriots. But technically, they're working for the corporation, and they're not doing anything to change that anytime soon. They're not concerned with reconstituting the republic because they believe that they're fucking free. Think about it.
Street, and the tower exploded, and then you see the flames, and it shapes like 9/11. It's an eerie thought. Like, he was creeped out. He's like, that's...
Here, I'll throw you a bone. It's not a great example of the 9/11 stuff, but it is mentioned. If you watch, it's from 1994. It's a really shitty film. I've never seen anybody point it out. You can look up the transcripts to prove what I'm saying. And here in the States, well, here, let me parallel it. In the UK, if you were to dial an emergency line, I'm pretty sure it's 999. Here in, the States, America, the District of Columbia is really the overarching bullshit that controls us. It's called 911 by most people, right? So if you watch this film from 1994 starring Gary Busey, Wesley Snipes, Corin, whatchamacallit, I almost said Ferris Bueller, I almost said Zach Morris, but it's another one of those. Park Lewis Can't Lose. He was also in The Stand. And a number of other actors are in this film. I'd say about 3/4 of the way through it, approximately. I think it's after Gary Busey, spoilers, kills one of his compatriots. He floats down on a parachute, and he says something along the lines of, you can dial 911, not 911. And it's curious. It's very curious. Keep in mind, prior to this, he fried one of his friends in a transformer, having to do with electricity. It's curious. Not unlike the watchtower that this kid's babbling about. But what this kid's babbling about is superficial. It's known to other people. I guarantee if you go looking for somebody online who mentions, Drop Zone from 1994 and an obscure reference to 9/11, I'm the only fucking person that just left that on the DARPA internet.
Weird. And it is weird. And if you type it into any search engine, what are the odds of this, and that happening in a movie like Snake Eyes with the Charlie Kirk thing? What are the odds of that happening?
I don't know what that's in reference to. Possibly the Nicolas Cage Snake Eyes film, maybe. Charlie Kirk was a controlled opposition asset who also supported Israel, which means he was a piece of shit. But he was a controlled opposition asset, obviously, because he was promoting the Hegelian dialectic. He was polarizing people, which means this superficial narcissistic internet baby shouldn't mention Charlie Kirk because he was a piece of fucking shit. Shit on my heel. At best. At best.
And then that happening in real life, like that being a coincidence. The odds are like 1 in several trillion. So something's going on. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and follow for more.
It's called Lesser Magic, and I bet you this guy has thousands upon thousands of followers. Less than I thought. Surprising. All right, well, he still got 2,000, going on 3,000. Still a lot. It's more than I'll ever have.
This movie...
Just the same. Assume I'm wrong. I could teach you things you're not supposed to know. And people like this are the fucking problem. 4,117 have circulated this garbage. And I do mean garbage. It is fucking garbage. If you use your brain, what I said in this video should paint a picture for you. You can use what I said as a stepping stool. You can use this, like breadcrumbs and all the other analogies to be able to figure shit out. But you have to use your brain. And that's when people bow out. I have accounts on most platforms. And what I'll do sometimes is I will post friendly, fluffy, stupid fucking dog shit for a while. And sometimes I'll, get a couple more followers. Then I'll post something where I challenge people and I tell them to use their fucking brain. Crickets. No one likes the video. No one shares the video. Nothing. No comments. Nothing. And then I'll watch, and the people who followed unfollow the account. Because I'm not shopping around polarizing pointless fucking vibes. I'm shopping around shit that would fucking benefit you and I and everyone else if you considered it. And if you used it as a fucking tool. What the fuck do I know?